I'm just there to help them develop better strategies for helping students. Really important for teachers to know is about learning happens through approximations.
So it's about teachers or it's about students?
I think it's both. Students need to be able to really state what their interests or goals or objectives are, and I think teachers need to have some flexibility to be able to meet those goals. Biggest thing to being a successful English teacher is to be very, very flexible and to be very, very versatile. My bachelor's degree is actually in music from the University of the North Carolina School of the Arts.
When I read and I said, wow, oh.
To keep going through challenges, I think, was probably the biggest life lesson I learned at the conservatory. It's okay, just try some new things. Maybe you'll be good at it, maybe you won't be good at it, and it doesn't matter. Being good at all of them is not the goal. Having fun trying new things is the goal.
Good day, everybody. Hi. So my name is Sarvinoza and we are here on the YouTube channel called Sarvinoza Spotlight. So guess who is on our spotlight today? So I'm very curious about too, because you know what, I was very excited yesterday when I heard about our guests, because every time I really try to bring somebody who is interesting, somebody who have very great background in her or in his life. So that's why I'm so happy today, and I really want to introduce her. She was in United States, she was in China, and here in Uzbekistan, and she is an experienced TESOL expert, but she also lectured at Webster University in Tashkent, and also she loves music. So welcome to our podcast studio, Rebecca Real.
I'm happy to be here. I'm flattered that you think I'm interesting to talk to, and happy to share anything with you, about my life and experience.
When you sent me your infos, I so long time waited your infos, and when I read and I said wow, oh. And one thing was very interesting for me. It was that you love the music,
Yes.
Even though your profession is another, but you love the music. But I thought your profession is different, but I thought your real bachelor degree was for the music. We'll talk about during our show because our viewers are so curious me too, So I'm so happy to see you. I'm a first time talking with you here. I've never talked with you, but I saw a lot of videos. I saw a lot of shows that you participated, and it was so great.
Yes, I'm happy we have the chance to get to talk further.
Oh, thank you. So today I have some things that I prepared for our viewers. We talked about teaching students once and teaching IELTS once, but we never talked about teaching English teachers. So teaching students, okay, I can understand that, but when it comes to teaching teachers, it's, I think, another level and different thing.
Yes.
So first of all, what is the difference between teaching teachers?
Right. Well, this is a good question. What is the difference between teaching students and what is and teaching teachers?
Yeah.
So I currently work in a position where I'm training English teachers as part of a Masters of TESOL program, and it's we just sort of have different goals. Working with teachers, they already have a lot of knowledge about English grammar and sort of how to take their knowledge about the English language and how to turn that into activities that would help other people learn it. So sometimes that's looking at their past experience about how they learned English and how to recreate that, or how to change that and make it better. So, like a lot of my students who are teachers, a lot of them comment about, they have this really strong background in English grammar, but weren't taught a lot about how to apply it or use it in everyday life. So to find the balance between, we're going to learn some grammar, but to balance that with how does that get applied in everyday life, and then helping them create meaningful activities with that. So that's a little bit about the differences in teaching English and teaching teachers. I often tell my current students, I'm like, I am not your English teacher. I'm not here to evaluate. I'm not here to evaluate, the quality of English you're producing. So I'm just there to help them develop better strategies for helping students.
This is very perfect. So when you teach teachers, what they should know, first of all, for example, what is very important thing for teachers?
Right. One thing that is really important for teachers to know is about learning happens through approximations. So if we think about the word approximately, it means like you've sort of got it. So we learn through approximations. So whatever the new task or topic is, we're going to try it a little bit. We're probably not going to get it exactly, but we're going to give it a try and get it sort of. Then we're going to kind of get some feedback about how to get it better. Then we're going to try it again and get closer and closer as we kind of cycle through that we're just... what I always say is, if your students are getting everything correct all the time the first time, then that means your questions are too easy. There should be mistakes, because that's how we know what they need help with and how to jump in and get on that topic with them. So give them some type of task that's challenging but not too challenging, and then see where they have trouble. Pull out those little parts, work on that, try the challenging task again, and then we'll see where there's improvement, so that we're learning through a series of approximations. That's our key word for today, approximation.
Approximation, right?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Similar to the word approximately. Yeah.
Approximately. Approximately. We say in Uzbek, tahminan.
Oh, I need to learn this word in Uzbek. Yeah.
Great. So what is the biggest challenge English teachers face, and how do you help them overcome it?
Right. So one of the biggest challenges that all teachers face, and particularly English teachers, is what our students is going to need is going to be huge, but we only have time to teach them a little bit. That they are always going to need to know more than we have time to teach them. And so the challenge becomes how to prioritize and say, okay, well, I know they need to learn a million things. Can I break that into 10 items that I can help them with? So yes, the biggest challenge for English teachers is prioritizing how to spend our time together the most efficiently. So we don't want to be teaching our students things they're already successful with. That's a waste of time. We also don't want to spend time on topics or skills that they don't really need. That's a waste of time. So that to really get on the bullseye of what they are really immediately needing help with at this moment. And then sort of balancing that with reading, writing, speaking, listening, pronunciation, vocabulary, grammar, kind of which parts of those angles are they needing. So yes, prioritizing is a big challenge for English teachers.
Great. Then they have short time, but they should work very hard in this short time, and they should teach something for the students.
Yeah, so that we're working smart, that we are using our time wisely that we have with our students. Yeah.
So what do you think makes a great English teacher?
Right. I would say the biggest thing to being a successful English teacher is to be very, very flexible and to be very, very versatile. As you mentioned in the
You said flexible.
flexible and versatile. So as you mentioned in the introduction, I was a English ESL, English as a second language teacher in the United States, where I'm from, and also taught English and teachers at a big university in China for a few years. And then I've taught English for academic purposes here, I've taught English for business purposes, and now I teach Masters of TESOL students. So in all of those different settings, I'm changing and no one size fits all. For example, the students I taught in the United States, their first language was Spanish.
Oh, really?
And a lot of them had very good oral skills in English. Like they could chit-chat in English, they could accomplish daily tasks in English very, very easily with their spoken English. But they needed help with literacy skills with reading and writing. So like that was the opposite of when I was teaching in China.
It was opposite.
Yes, they had very good reading and writing skills in English, but hadn't had a lot of practice to use their oral English. And so, I had to plan different types of activities that helped with their different needs and highlighted their different strengths. So, so to be versatile. So whether we're working with novice students who need, simple phrases like "my name is," "can I go to the bathroom," "I have 3 brothers," or whatever it is, or more complex tasks like someone who is trying to improve their English to get a promotion on their job because they need English on their job, or someone who's writing some kind of research paper. So all of the are needed for business purposes. So all of these different reasons to speak English require different activities and different goals and different tasks. So English teachers have to have a big range of tools and strategies they use to meet the needs of all context.
This is very interesting, of course. And for example, you said in China it was different, in US it was different. So you came here and you are teaching like Uzbek teachers. So how it's going here?
Yeah, so one thing that is really interesting about being a teacher here in Uzbekistan and Tashkent is that the students are very multilingual. Most people I've worked with have very strong literacy in all these different languages, so they've got a lot to pull from, and not just Uzbek and Russian, but some of my students also know some Korean or Turkish or Arabic or in different levels. But when students have all of this linguistic background to use, then we can add on to it easily. So it's like, and to kind of use it to compare and contrast. So please correct me if I'm saying this wrong, but it is my understanding in Uzbek and Russian there are not articles like the table, the book. It would just be book, table, where in English we would either say a, and, or the.
Yes.
Yeah, and so we can sort of describe that. Now, in Uzbek, you don't need an article in front of the word, but in English you do. Or in Uzbek, the word order is like this, but that would be different in English. So just having all those languages to compare things to certainly makes things very unique to this region and interesting for me as a teacher, because I get to learn about all these different languages, sort of through my students. So that's the thing that's really been most notable for me teaching here is working with people who who already speak several languages and have strong literacy in those languages. So that's been very interesting for me.
It is interesting. So what do you think is technology is affecting on you? Like technology is rising day by day, and that's why like changed English language teaching?
Yes. The role of technology in English teaching. Wow, I could talk about that for several hours. And I think it's I think it's mostly an asset. I know I've used the Duolingo app myself, and I know a lot of people here locally have used Duolingo to improve their English. And, it's a really well-designed app, and it is kind of addictive to use. And it's like, oh, you're using it, 7 days in a row. Can you use it 14 days in a row? And so I think things like that have a really good technology development. I've also used a little bit the app called Hello Talk, and I think it's also popular here. It pairs people who can speak a language with people who are learning that language, and it has some really good features that you can both have audio and written messages with a person. And I think I've known some local people who've used that app also, and I've played around on it some. So those are two apps that I think are very useful in people learning to teach, learning to speak English, or trying to improve their English. Of course, the technology development that has given me lots of problems is when students, my students who are teachers, or other students, I think this is not unique to me, abuse AI tools.
Oh yes, GPT.
Yes, that they think the Chat GPT is going to do the work for them. So in my current job, my university has worked with some strategies about using AI and ChatGPT for good purposes, but also, discouraging the use of it for
not using.
That would not be appropriate usages of it. So we're looking at the difference between appropriate uses of an AI and inappropriate uses of AI, and and I think I'm in agreement with that.
But how can you check it?
Well, that is the $1 million question. Sort of, I know what my students' writing typically sounds like, and so if they submit an assignment that all of a sudden sounds like this magical, perfect document published out of a book, those are some clues. There's also some clues about the format and way different tools generate things. And since now I've read a lot of it, I kind of know what it sounds like. So we have a couple of strategies to detect that, and I can't share all of them because I don't want to give away all of my secrets. But we have a few tricks to help us identify that. Yes.
And maybe like from the psychological part, from their face expression.
Yes, when we ask them about it, to explain how they created it, and all of a sudden they don't really have any answers. So those are some different strategies we use. Yeah.
So you know what? It was so interesting, and I have my own question, like my very kind of problematic question for myself, for my acquaintances too. So the question is like, for learning any kind of languages, we go to the academies like learning centers or some teachers. Every time when we go, the introduction will be very interesting for us. For example, like first, second, third lesson will be interesting for the students. For example, just imagine in the one class there are 15 students. 15 students came to the first class. First, second, third, fourth, fifth class lessons were very great. But after that, the students will lose something in their inside, and the temper will be get down every day by day. Like I can say like lesson by lesson maybe. They kind of lose their motive maybe, and also teacher will say something like bad things to the students, not kind of like not in bad way, like in a good way. And that kind of moments, teacher also should their teachers lose their motivation too, so their like a position will be equal, students and teachers, when they feel they can feel each other, I think. So why it happens, why after like fifth lesson everybody's like temperament will go down?
Well, if they have become bored with it or discouraged somehow,
and they don't do their homeworks, they will say every time something to the teachers, and teacher will talk with students every time with a different way, like for example, I just forgot in English. In Uzbek we say urush berma qot. It's kind of saying, why you're not doing that? These things, you know.
I think there's 2 points to that. I think some of that is human nature, that when we start a new project we're very excited, and then over time it becomes to feel more like work, and some of the excitement of a new project fades. I think some of that is human nature. I think some of that depends on how courses are designed, and that if the course is very fixed, like this is what chapter 1 is, this is what chapter 2 is, you know, kind of in a very rigid, predetermined way, yes, that might not be on the bullseye of what the students' most pressing needs are and interests are. So I think if teachers have some flexibility to change course materials or whatever, and to individualize that a little bit, to that the students have got topics they're learning about that they have direct personal interest in, and that there can be a lot of, to get things very relevant, to keep things relevant to really what is the student most interested to learn or most needs to learn, that again, that we're using our time together wisely, and not not just going through different chapters in a course book that may lack relevance. And there are some course books that are quite good, so I don't want to say that course books are bad. I think it depends on the course book, and I think it depends on how the teacher uses it. And so some of that boredom or burnout or frustration you're talking about can be avoided with with goal setting. I want to be able to do this. Did we meet that goal? What's our next goal? I want to be able to do this in English. What's our next goal? With it really having clear goals, and modifying those goals as they go along to keep people interested and motivated.
So you can keep it.
Yes.
So it's about teachers or it's about students?
I think it's both.
It's both.
Yes, that students need to be able to really state what their interests or goals or objectives are, and I think teachers need to have some flexibility to be able to meet those goals, and not be tied to an already fixed syllabus or a course book. That there is flexibility with the teacher to meet the students' individual needs, but students also need to be clear on what their goals and interests are. And why I'm saying that is because sometimes people will say to me something like, I want to improve vocabulary. Okay. Well, that doesn't really tell me what they need help with. Like vocabulary about what? Kind of for what setting, for what topic. And we'll look at the context of that. So if it's someone in sales, what vocabulary would go along with a sales job, and sort of the the grammar and speaking and writing that would go along with that. We can't really learn vocabulary in isolation. Or if they want to improve their vocabulary, they've got to help me know about what. I can't just like choose random words and say, well, hey, you wanted help with vocabulary. They've got to meet me on that to, to tell me specifically, what they're needing help with. So I think both the student and the teacher have a role in helping making lessons more meaningful.
Wow, great. When I was kind of student, when I kind of I can surely remember the process of learning English. I all the time dreamed about going to the US and living 1 year and come back for learning vocabulary. It was so difficult for me.
Okay.
Learning new words every day. I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of problem of my, I can say, brain.
Yeah.
Like the memorizing stuff.
Yeah.
Like in every human, like different the
Yeah,
process. So
yeah.
mine was very difficult, and my dream was just going to the United States and living 1 year and come back for learning vocabulary.
Oh, well,
So
like another way to meet that goal would be like, as you're interested in journalism and podcasting, like, if you read a book about, like Oprah Winfrey or other people who work, in broadcasting, might have enjoyed. That might have been a way to get some of that vocabulary that you were particularly interested in, whatever that topic may be.
whatever, right? So I'm very interested to one thing that, what's your opinion on learning English, like through movies and music?
Yeah, I think that's really one thing that's awesome about living in the technology age is that we have access to so many materials for free on YouTube and other internet sources. And it's been a long time ago, but when I was teaching Spanish speakers, really wanted to improve my Spanish. And so I started watching a Spanish soap opera with the subtitles. And so I learned all the vocabulary that goes on soap operas. But I think if people could, choose a series, that I know people commonly learn English through the series Friends, is the 90s TV show, and can choose a series that they like and use the captioning titles, features on different platforms. I think that I haven't used it in a while, but I think that there's a Google Chrome extension for Netflix that can slow the speed of things, so can give people a chance to read the captions more thoroughly or listen to something more carefully. So yeah, you definitely using our TV series as some context.
We should just watch that.
If there's one that people are interested in and using with the titles on, so people can read what they're saying and can hear it, is one tool. And yeah, so using our widely available videos to us.
Yeah, you're right. And like TV series, films are interesting, and also I think like bloggers reels in English language also interesting, because like nowadays are people not patient for watching long timely things. No more than 40 minutes they cannot. If it's interesting they can, but if it's not interesting they prefer like watching 1 minute reels,
Right. Either we tend to like things that are either very, very short or very, very long, and nothing in the middle.
That's why we also do some reels for our viewers who are not patient for watching like 30 minutes. So what advice would you give to someone learning English language but feeling stuck?
Yes. So is to like when I was watching the Spanish soap opera, to choose a series or a topic or something that you have a lot of personal interest in, and try to, learn some of the English that goes with that. So to really, get on personal interest. And here in Tashkent, Uzbekistan, that there are a lot of people who need English for their jobs, and that by improving their English, they have opportunities for promotions that may lead to more money. Could certainly be a motivating force for a lot of people. Yes.
Okay, can you explain, by detailed for the people, for all people, like maybe they are chief, maybe they are, I can say, builder, maybe they are like any kind of like profession. I tell them you need learn English language. When they ask why, because I say because, and can you explain why they should learn it? Every like profession, every job need this language.
Yeah, and and having good Uzbek skills is a wonderful quality also. But particularly here in Tashkent, that does have such a big international component here, with all of the development with international businesses, and there's all the embassies here from different countries, and so when I'm around other international people, regardless of what their primary language is, the language we're using is English. And so then the different businesses and restaurants and hotels that have international customers, then having a staff with strong English helps them. It makes us want to go to those places, if we know there's going to be a waiter or staff or salesperson who can help us in English. It makes us want to use those companies and businesses. So and also foreigners here. Yes, of course. We should learn some Uzbek and Russian also. We are, guests in a foreign country, but really, when businesses and companies can have a strong English presence, it really just opens up more customers for them from the international community.
Wow, this is perfect. And thank you. And I here, I think for now, for today, it's enough for talking about English language and teaching teachers. It was very interesting. I really, really like it, the skills that you shared with us. And here, I kind of want to move to the very most interesting part. Here, I'm so wondered when I read the info that have to snowboarding.
Yes. Yes.
So snowboarding is not common hobby for women that I know. I don't know in other countries, but in Uzbekistan for women it's common hobby. So how did you get into it?
Yeah, so one of my favorite things about living in Tashkent is we are 1 hour and 15 minutes away from Amersfoort. So to be able to go to the mountain easily for the day is one of my favorite parts of living here. And I had snowboarded some before moving here. And but where I really became interested in it was during the pandemic. So I was living in the United States, in North Carolina, where I'm from. And where I'm from in North Carolina, it's about 2 hours from the ski resort. So it's a little bit of a further drive, but still possible for the day. And, just during the pandemic, there just were not good options for entertainment. So that was something that could get me outside and could do alone. And so I just sort of made that my pandemic project was I am going to improve my snowboarding. And we won't talk about how much money I spent on that year, but I decided that it was not an entertainment investment. It was a mental health investment to have a hobby for the pandemic. So then when I moved here, was able to continue improving, and I would consider myself very intermediate. I'm not particularly advanced, but very intermediate. But yeah, it just became this big challenge that I said, I am going to learn how to do this. And I would say where I'm from in the States, that it's probably, I guess, roughly equal men and women who snowboard. But I have noticed here in lovely Uzbekistan, there are a few women, but I would say the boys outnumber the girls. The boys outnumber the girls by a lot. So, but just want to, encourage people to try new hobbies, and even if you're not successful at it, that's okay.
So,
Yes.
what does snowboarding teach you about life?
Yes, what snowboarding has taught me about life is, like, don't worry about what other people are doing. Just worry about yourself. So, I'll see other people, they're like going very fast or going on the top of the mountain that's more difficult. And I'm like, no, I'm just going slow. I'm just going slow on the easy part, and I'm having a great time. So,
Wow.
it's just to learn things at your own pace. Even when I had been snowboarding for several years, sometimes people would say, oh, is it your first day? Oh, is it your first season? I'm like, no, I'm just going slow. I'm just enjoying things at my speed, and I've improved a lot since then. I do go on the red slopes now, but still just want to go slow and do things at the speed that I am enjoying, and to not be worried what other people are thinking or what they're doing. Just have your own experience.
Yeah. It's kind of life lesson.
Yeah.
Because, like you explained, there are people who are going very fast, very fast. I mean, but I'm going on my pace. So if we compare to the real life, like not like snowboarding, to the work, for example. There are some successful people who are already on the top of the mountains, for example, like in their job. But we are doing our work, like we don't have to like feel very bad about that. We are here, we are doing. The important thing is that we started doing it, right?
Right. It is a nice metaphor for life.
So-
Is don't worry about other people as long as you're happy. Don't compare yourself.
Yeah, you're right. So, what is something a difficult thing when you snowboard?
Trying not to fall. Yes, there's a lot of falling involved with snowboarding, so working on less falling. And when I was there a few days ago, I did not fall at all the whole day, so I was very proud of that. Because even very advanced people still can have some accidents.
Can you
so,
remember your some scariest moment that you did?
Yes, that is a great question. My scariest moment. So, last March, I decided I wanted to go on a snowboarding holiday, and so I went over to our lovely neighbor of Almata to their lovely snowboarding. I was very excited to be at a new resort, and everyone had told me how wonderful it was, but unfortunately I was there on a bad weather day. And so the conditions were not good, and it was very, very foggy, and I was someplace that I was not familiar. And at first, I thought, let me just try to stay at the bottom, but then there really wasn't anything I could do, and I was like, okay, well, just give it a try to go, like, to the halfway point up the mountain, and, just follow the other people. They will know what to do. And the fog was just very, very heavy, and I could see other people where they were going, but I did become scared, and so I sat down to kind of try to tell what was going on and kind of see where the path was. And apparently I looked kind of panicked because both an instructor and another person stopped, and they're like, are you okay? Are you okay? I'm like, I'm okay, I just don't know where to go. I just can't see because of the fog. And so the person who stopped, his name was Tim from Moscow, and I don't know anything else about Tim from Moscow, but he said, just come on, just follow me. I know how to get down there. We'll just go together. You know, it's fine. And so I was scared for a few moments, but an angel came along, and then everything was fine. So, but yes, the fog in Almata. Don't go snowboarding when it's foggy in Almata. That was the lesson learned on that. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your another very favorite, I can say, hobby is singing.
Yes.
Before starting that show that you said you studied, right? For the 4 years. And where did you study?
Yeah, so my bachelor's degree is actually in music from the University of the North Carolina School of the Arts, and that's the Arts Conservatory where I'm from. And so there I was a clarinet player, which is very, 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 very different than my life now. But in my 20s, that's what I did, and was very grateful for the training that I got there, and it really gave me a strong background in music and a strong appreciation for all the arts, whether that's plays or dancing or music or whatever. So it really I had a lot of exposure at a young age to very high quality performances, and so that stayed with me my whole life. So I did that for a long time. Then sort of in my 30s, I was kind of tired of that and learned to play guitar and sing and started writing songs. And so that's been the way I've been involved with music since then. And I will never claim to be talented, but I will certainly claim to have a lot of fun and to be very grateful anytime I have the opportunity to share music people in any way. Yeah.
Wow, but this is great. But somehow after sometimes you change it your profession, but does it music, I mean that you learn in professional way the music, does it affected your whole life?
Yes, it has affected my whole life. Earlier you mentioned when people are in the English lesson and the teacher is frustrated with you and you're like, oh, come on, whatever. So sometimes I feel like the greatest skill I learned from going to the music conservatory was to overcome challenges, that it was very challenging and very stressful and very disappointing in a lot of ways, and just to be in a very demanding environment, and then to have to kind of get over it. Somebody's hurt your feelings about something or been critical and criticizing, and to have to just put your face back on and keep going. So yeah, to keep going through challenges, I think, was probably the biggest life lesson I learned at the conservatory. My friends and I who went to the university together, we often I can't remember the author, but it was the best of times, it was the worst of times is often how we remember that we learned a lot and we made good friends, but it was very difficult. Yeah.
Wow,
So.
it was difficult, but now it feels good.
Yeah, I'm very proud of the fact that I made it through and got the 4-year degree from the conservatory, and I did not quit. I kept on going. A lot of times I wanted to quit, but I kept on going.
But you didn't, right?
I did it, yes.
Oh, this is good for us.
Yes.
And this is good for us. Why? Because now we do have an opportunity maybe to hear your voice and somehow in some I can say way that you, if you can, of course, to just give us a little performance.
Well, I can't do much without my guitar here, but
imagine you have a guitar.
No. But
I can do like that maybe.
But I can tell you what my favorite song to sing in Uzbekistan is.
Okay.
And that's the wherever you go, whatever you do, I will be right here waiting for you. It's an 80s love song by Richard Marx, and I just noticed that this song was very popular with the Uzbek people. And so anytime I get to sing it here, I can see it makes the Uzbek people very happy, and they sing along and want to make a video of me singing it. So I'm happy to sing Richard Marx's song anytime I can here. Yeah.
Because of like we watched one movie
Uh-huh.
in here, it was like old times. In this movie, that music was. That's why it became so popular in Uzbekistan. that
Yes, a lot of music from the 1980s is widely used in movies. Yeah,
Yeah.
so always a fan. Yeah.
song. So, here the last question for you, Miss Rebecca. Rebecca is your name, right?
Yes, it is.
Real, it's your surname, right?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Perfect.
Yes,
In
yes.
the end of the show, I know that.
Yes.
So, if you could share one simple piece of advice with everyone in the world, what would it be?
Oh my goodness, one piece of advice for the entire world.
Yes.
Would be let's see. I was thinking about this on the way over here, and let's see, what did I come up with? That like it's okay. Like just try some new things. Maybe you'll be good at it, maybe you won't be good at it, and it doesn't matter. To have the courage to do something badly. Have the courage to do something badly. It's okay. If you want to take a dancing class and be the worst one,
Okay.
if you're having fun, it's okay. If you want to, play an instrument or, learn some type of sport, like, it's okay. It's okay if you're not good at it, as long as you're having fun and just be willing to try new experiences, and that it's okay to fail. If something doesn't work out like we think it's going to, well, then we have that experience that will inform us how to be successful at something else at another time. So that life is just much more interesting with as many different types of experiences we can have, and being good at all of them is not the goal. Having fun trying new things is the goal. So that would be my piece of advice for the world.
Thank you. It was very great advice for everyone in the world, I hope. So thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us, and that you said very kindly words to everyone, and you helped to the teachers and students also. So thank you very much for coming. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and ideas to everyone. And I'm so happy to provide this episode with Miss Rebecca Real and everybody. It was Sarvinoza Spotlight episode 7, and I hope that you like it. I hope, of course, I will know only from the one thing that you like it or not, from these buttons, so that's why we really need these buttons that you put it, and subscribe if you want to watch our another episodes in the nearly future. So have a nice day, have a beautiful day, everybody. Bye bye.